Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we're going to be talking about something that could eventually be making its way over to our World of Insert Combat Vehicle here game, and that is yet another layer of premium account time, or whatever you want to call it, that Wargaming seems to just be stacking on top of their titles at this moment. So, from the point of view of World of Warships, we, for a very long time, just had a premium account. If you wanted to get better credit income, better XP income, you could buy a premium account, and you got that, along with a couple other bonuses here and there to some other things. Then, very recently, we finally got the Battle Pass with the Premium Pass. That acts like another layer of premium time that gives you a variety of bonuses depending upon the month. Some months it's a discount or an outright just complete removal of the cost of demounting modules, or a bonus to your credits and XP income, and plus to the premium layers of the Battle Pass. But now what Wargaming seems to be doing in World of Tanks, their flagship game, is adding on yet another layer of premium. Now keep in mind that World of Tanks, they've had a Battle Pass for a much longer time than we've had, and of course they've had premium time since the game started, and now they're getting something called World of Tanks Plus, or What Plus, for just brevity's sake. And a bunch of you guys linked me Quickie Baby's video talking about What Plus and wanted to know my take on this and how this could potentially affect World of Warships, or I should say, how it might eventually come over to World of Warships if it's successful in World of Tanks. So, first off, if you want to see a very in-depth breakdown of how this affects World of Tanks, please go check out Quickie Baby's video. I have played World of Tanks nowhere near enough to explain the ins and outs of their economy and their system and such, although it is fairly similar in some things, but there are some things that I found out in this video that I didn't know were a thing in World of Tanks, and it's like, what? So, let's go ahead and I'm going to go through what the What Plus does, what the what does, and then we'll talk about, comparing it to World of Warships, and, obviously what would that do to the game if the same system was brought over here, or in the cases of mechanics that aren't a thing in World of Warships, what could they replace it with? So, starting out, how much does it cost? Well, it costs $9 a month-ish, and premium time for World of Tanks already costs, I think it's like $8, I think, a month. I think it's fairly similar. So this would be bumping you up to about 20-ish bucks a month, a little under 20 bucks, probably 20 after tax, depending upon where you live in the United States and of course around the world. So 20 bucks a month for 2 subscriptions to World of Tanks. It's really funny too, because there are some other premium services like streaming services around that you already have to buy a plan to their service, but then you have to buy another plan, like if you don't want to watch ads, and if you don't want to watch, shortened ads or something like that. I think Peacock is one right now that I'm probably going to cancel because of that, because I already pay for the service. Why do I have to pay for the service again? But anyway, so one thing that Quickie Baby pointed out with the one of the benefits is that you're going to be getting more gold, and auctions in World of Tanks have been a thing for much longer than they have in World of Warships. So for those that are paying for 2 premium services, you get more gold with What Plus, which is of course going to drive up the cost of entry into auctions. That's an interesting thing. I guess, when you've had auctions for some time, that is what happens. Some similar things have happened in World of Warships, like with the mass selling of camouflages when the economic rework happened, and then the following auctions that were for credits. Of course, many players who had been playing the game for forever had just mountains of credits left over from selling off their camo, since camos are useless now in the game. I mean, I haven't sold it off all of mine yet, but I probably could and easily get another 200 to 300 million credits on my account. And we saw in those auctions, people were just throwing credits at these auctions because they had a mountain of credits to settle and probably still have even more. And of course, for players that are trying to partake in these auctions, that's going to suck for them. And then the next point was something that's interesting that I'm surprised honestly hasn't made it into Water Warships yet. I'm guessing because we just don't have the maps for it. So in water tanks, you get to exclude maps. I'm not sure if I just didn't notice it when I did my like little month-long foray into water tanks, or what. But yeah, you can exclude maps in water tanks, which is like, yeah, I wish. There's so many maps I just wouldn't want to play on because I like brawling, I like my GK, I like my secondary boats, and there's quite a few maps that have, huge open areas that aren't conducive to brawling. I would obviously, put those on my exclude list, and then obviously, I mean, shoot, having more options, more slots to ban more maps. Yeah, I'd be like, man, I want Two Brothers. I want the maps with all the island cover they can hop up to. I don't want Mountain Range. I don't want Tears of the Desert. Yeah, I wish. So right now, normal players can exclude one map. Premium players can exclude 2 maps. And now if you get What Plus, you can exclude 3 maps. Obviously, like I was just talking about too with the GK, certain classes of tanks or certain types of tanks obviously do better on different maps. Again, like in GK, I want the maps with all the island cover. I want the maps that aren't open. That's obviously what I would want to ban. So you have players that are playing for these accounts just having maps that are very advantageous to their tanks. And obviously, too, if they're playing on these maps constantly, playing these class of tanks constantly, they're probably going to be quite good at it. And when you, the lowly player that can only exclude one map, gets onto that map that, let's say, heavy tanks or medium tanks do very well on, you're going to see a lot of those types of tanks and players that have just been, obviously, honing their skills on that for quite some time. So that's going to give them quite an advantage there. And then this next one is kind of crazy. So you also get free crew XP. And by free crew XP, I mean literally just free crew XP. So the way this works in this premium subscription is that your crew just gets XP from just sitting there. You can literally not be playing the game, and apparently not even logged in, and your crews just get XP. What? That's the point of playing the game. Now, it's not a ton of XP. It's not like, you're going to have a maxed out crew just from not doing this for like a year or so. You can get your crew up to 4.5 apparently, which is still an advantage. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's that much of the game you don't have to play compared to the lowly, not even free-to-play player, the premium player that just doesn't have What Plus. Obviously, has to grind out that crew. And, very much like Water Warships and Water Tanks, crew skills are very important. And yeah, if someone was just dumping free commander XP into my commanders in my port, I have ships that I haven't played in years that would probably have crews that would be halfway up to max level. Captains that would be up to 21 points already, or very close to 21 points, just from obviously just sitting in the port for forever. So that's, wow. That's obviously a pretty big advantage. Clear cut there. And then what was interesting too is that, and Quickie Baby pointed this out too, and that's what I was thinking too, there's a free rental tank that you can get in What Plus, which is a TS-54, which is this weird dual gun tank thing. And the way it works for this premium tank, you can retrain the crew free of charge regardless of the class of vehicle. Now, apparently on premium vehicles in Water Tanks, you can move them around, and it can be free retraining if they're of the same class. So, if it's a tank destroyer to a tank destroyer, a heavy tank to a heavy tank, medium tank to a medium tank, light tank to a light tank, tomato to tomato. It would be like if premium in Water Warships meant you could move a commander from like a GK to a Preußen to a Schlieffen to a Scharnhorst free of charge, like you can do with premium vehicles. But in Water Tanks, apparently, if you wanted to move that from a heavy tank to a medium tank, you get a 20% debuff to the crew while it gets retrained. I'm assuming you can kind of throw money at the game like you can in World of Warships and just retrain the crew instantly. But you can do that for free with the TS-54, meaning that you can move crew from light tanks to heavy tanks, from medium tanks to tank destroyers, completely for free if this effect was on everything. But apparently it's just on this one tank. which obviously, since you pay for What Plus, is an exclusive free rental, by the way, which means that only What Plus gets that tank, I'm assuming, for the rental period. I'm not sure if it's going to go for like the entire month, or they might swap it out, or this might just be kind of the first of these premium vehicles to have this restriction removed. Now, I would argue if they would obviously remove that from all premium vehicles, that would probably just make everybody's life easier, because like in World of Warships, we don't have to worry about moving a commander from a DD to a battleship to a cruiser. That's just already a thing, which is very convenient. Like if I want to move Halsey from my Austin to my Ohio, I can do that. That's just how it works, because premium ships don't have to pay to retrain the commander, and it doesn't matter about class. But obviously, if only this tank that only these What Plus members can get has this advantage, that's a huge advantage, of course, too, because you can train crews up on this tank, move them around, don't have to worry about dropping it down to another class or anything like that. So now you have fully crewed other classes of tanks by using this premium tank to grind up those crews faster. And then his big point here was that in World of Tanks, you have certain types of equipment called bond equipment, which I went and I did a Googling search, and it sounds like it's equipment that's much better than standard equipment that you get for bonds, which sounds kind of like still you get it from playing ranked and other high tier modes and things like that. So it sounds like equipment that you can buy for steel. And this equipment, these modules, are better than your standard modules. And what you can do with What Plus is that you can completely demount all equipment with the exception of, I think, like the top tier, the exclusive or rare, whatever you want to call it, equipment. Which means that this bond equipment that you normally have to pay to remove off of your tanks that are hard to get, you can now just move it to whatever tank you want, free of charge, with What Plus. Which obviously means that if it's free of charge to remove it and just throw it on whatever, why have any other equipment if you have a full set of bond equipment? Because if you get done playing tank A and you want to play tank B, well, it's free to just take all those modules off and throw it on tank B, and I'll roll into battle with tank B, which obviously gives you just an outright advantage over other players, and all you have to do is get one set of this stuff. And of course, too, what you can conversely do, like I was kind of talking about with the camo for ships, since you don't need all these other modules because you have bond equipment, you can just sell all of that, and now you have, like I was talking about with camo, hundreds of millions of credits worth of credits now that then you go into the auction, just throw it at the auction. Now the entry cost for the auctions for free-to-play players is probably unattainably high. So, yeah, you give these players a straight-up advantage because they don't have to pay to remove their equipment, and now the auction prices are, ballooned. So, talking about a system like this in World of Warships, so some of these bonuses do sound familiar to some things that have happened, like with the Battle Pass, the Premium Battle Pass. A bonus for, I think, 2 months ago, the Battle Pass 2 months ago, was that we could completely remove equipment for free. You don't have to worry about paying the cost to remove the equipment off of your ships if you bought the Premium Battle Pass. And then one time it was like a reduction, it was like 50% reduction to the cost, and I think right now it's just an XP and credits boost on top of your normal premium account. Now in World of Warships that doesn't really matter because the legendary mods that we do have are very limited, and you have to get them through Research Bureau points, and plus there's ship specific. So like I can't take the Yami's legendary module and slap it on my Ohio. It's just for the Yami, so that's not really an issue there. The ways that World of Tanks is pay to win in most people's eyes, there are things that could be brought over to World of Warships, like premium ammo. Premium ammo is the thing in World of Tanks. It's was straight up pay to win for a while because you can only buy with gold, but now you can buy with credits. But for the cost per shells, you can't really just rely on it, because unless you have like a god tier match, you aren't making your money back with a normal account or even with a premium account. It's quite high to buy. That hasn't been a thing in World of Warships yet. Honestly, with like SAP coming to the game, that would have been their opportunity to have premium ammo, but they didn't go with it. So unless they want to choose another ammo type and off the shelf or rare ammo type and then try to make that a premium ammo type in World of Warships. I don't see that happening. Premium consumables are a thing in World of Tanks. You could buy them with credits, just like you could buy the premium consumables in World of Warships with credits. But if you guys remember, a few years ago, we completely got rid of premium consumables to where everyone's on a level playing field now. The only real pay-to-win aspect in World of Warships is the signals at this moment. That is the only thing that you can outright buy in the game that gives you an advantage over other players, but you buy them for credits or for coal. Two resources that are available to everybody. Granted, if you want to run full signal flags on your ship, even with a premium account, even with a player like myself that plays this game quite a lot and is of the above average skill level, it's to the point to where I am making credits still with running full signal flags, but it's a very, very slow increase of the credits on my account, just with the way that obviously how many credits I'm having to throw at the armory every time I want to refresh my signal flags. I'm still making credits, but it's insanely slow compared to how many credits I used to be making back when we got them for achievements in battle. So, is this going to come to World of Warships? Maybe. It wouldn't really surprise me. Obviously, some elements from World of Tanks in the past have gotten to World of Warships. The Armory, the Battle Pass, that's here. Grand Battle Pass is a very common feature. I'm honestly surprised it took this long to get to the game. The auction is something from World of Tanks that is here now. Although the way the auctions have been going, we've had some pretty good ones, pretty fair ones in my opinion, over the course of its existence. The other advantages that get talked about, again, they aren't really what I'm concerned about because we don't have things like, bond equipment that's just straight up better than, the other modules that you can get, that you can slot in every slot on your ships. Those aren't a thing in this game yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if something like this would come to the game with either another layer of bonuses or the permanent addition of the demounting cost waiver that you get with the Battle Pass, although that seems to be sticking there for now. It's worth noting too that even though both games are developed by Wargaming, it's two completely separate dev teams. The World of Tanks dev team, they were stationed in Minsk, but of course, Wargaming left Belarus, so they're no longer there. It's a different studio. The World of Warship side of things was developed by Lesser Studios in St. Petersburg, and then Wargaming, of course, left Russia, so it's no longer there. It's still two separate dev teams working on two separate games, which is why some things like premium ammo has been added to the game yet. Why it took them so long to get some other elements that both games share now to get into both games. But again, it would not surprise me if they would go this extra mile. Well, not really extra mile for their pocketbooks, but if they would add this extra layer of subscription on top of what we already have. And you can argue that we pretty much already have it with the Battle Pass. Again, like I said, some of the bonuses that you get in this What Plus account are already in our Battle Pass. But what's to stop them from adding another layer on top? It wouldn't really surprise me if they would do something like that. But that's my 2 cents on this topic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of your week. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like and leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 50,000 subs, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday and a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.